Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 360 Sports Show here on Monday, July 5th. Hope you all had a happy and safe 4th of July weekend. We enjoyed yesterday, a little bit rainy here in Drury, sunny later on in New England, but overall, a great weekend. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. He's Christian Lauber. We have a lot to get into. We're going to try and run through this here on a Monday morning, special edition of the show because of the holiday. And I guess before we get into the NBA, the NHL, and some Olympic news, a lot of things to kind of run through. Christian, just first, how was your holiday weekend?
Yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, it was good. A little bit of rain, so not as warm and hot as would have liked. We got kind of rained out 2 holidays, but it popped up after everything was over, so that's good.
Yeah.
For the fireworks.
Happy 245th birthday, America.
Yeah. Really? Jeez.
We did it. We actually made it to this one.
Yeah.
Another year around the sun. So we've got a bunch of different things we want to get into. You can join us anytime in the comment section of this live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. You can also always email the show, the360sportshow @gmail.com. And if you can't catch us live and you're catching us as a podcast, we have that through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you for finding us there. And if you want to join the show and you're a podcast listener, you can email the360sportshow @gmail.com at any point throughout the week, and we will get to your email. So, Christian, away we go. And let's start with one that I think is going to be quick. Predictably, the Tampa Bay
series itself, it's going to be quick.
Yeah. Predictably, the Tampa Bay Lightning are up 3-0 on the Montreal Canadiens, and as you put in our little, chain here to for prep for the show, not shocked, not much to say. Yep. Yeah, this is exactly what we thought was gonna. I mean, we thought the Lightning would be here. We'd hoped that there would be a little bit more resistance, and no dice.
La Resistance is not from Montreal. No, they. Look, in reality, Montreal wouldn't be in the playoffs if it was a normal year. So it's just like one of those things where Montreal kind of hit lightning in a bottle. They once again faced the.
They got hit by the lightning in the bottle now.
They're getting hit. They're getting slapped in the face with lightning all over right now. But they got a little bit lucky in terms of, so they faced the choking dogs of Toronto in the first round, and that kind of sent them on their way.
It's so true.
They should have been out in the first round. And then, like the Maple Leafs, only the Maple Leafs can do, they choked that one away. And then they were pretty good against Vegas, but I feel like this team wouldn't be in the playoffs. We're finally seeing that they now have found a team in front of them that can play any which way you want. And it's not close. I mean, it's just like you could see it right from game one. It was going to be quick. I thought maybe 5, maybe Montreal gets one at the Bell Center. I'm thinking it's just over tonight and Tampa's repeating. So I don't know. We'll see. But Montreal has absolutely, I would say, 0.0001% chance to come back and win this series.
Yeah, you have to allow. I mean, you have to allow that, right? I mean, I think the laws of nature and physics say we have to allow for that percentage possibility. It is possible. It's not happening. Yeah, I agree. I think it's over tonight. I can't see any possible way. Just given what we've seen, it's not. I mean, could they steal this? It's a steal to take Game 4 and still be down 3-1. Yeah, I mean, no matter what, the series is over.
I saw people saying they should throw tonight so they could win it in Tampa. Just get it over with. Don't play with fire. There's no point in doing that.
Oh my God! Now I'll bump that percentage up to like maybe a 0.1 if Tampa's mindset is, hey, we won in a bubble last year. Let's win it in Tampa, and they just throw tonight away. Then you start, like you said, now you start playing with the cosmic forces.
Yeah. Be careful.
And then they start fighting back. That would be
two people get injured, they crash into each other, then Montreal comes back and wins Game 5 or 6, and then you're
Kucherov and Stamkos accidentally headbutt each other, and they're both out the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's like don't play with fire here. If you're Tampa, just get the thing over with. You're obviously the better team.
Yeah,
you're the best team in the league for a reason.
So I guess that's what you should tune in for tonight, is to watch and see if Tampa's trying to throw the game, because then then there's a bigger chance.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, we both expect Tampa to be the champions, continuing to be the reigning champions in the NHL. They'll keep Lord Stanley's Cup. And Christian, is that a problem for the NHL? We've kind of talked about this, but I mean, they basically got to circumvent the salary cap they played within the rules. This is somewhat like the NBA is doing with like the offensive foul stuff that they want to address next year. It's like, well, you've been playing within the rules, but obviously we don't like this. I think they were going to address this one way or another this offseason, this loophole of like a guy could just sit out the whole year and then he's perfectly healthy and ready to come back as soon as the playoffs begin. Oh, and he doesn't count towards your salary cap. Whee!
And also, he's probably the best player at his position.
Exactly. If this was being done with like the sixth defenseman, nobody would really be crying.
Right.
If this was Kevin Miller, I don't think anybody would be crying. Because Tampa's going to win the Stanley Cup, does that make it even more glaring that this needs to be fixed?
So I would say yes. I still will say Tampa's freaking loaded. I mean, they
didn't need the rule.
They don't need the rule, right? So, but it does need to be fixed. And look, the NHL has handed out punishment in the past for this. So I'm pretty sure with Coyotes or something weird they did, and they suck. So it's like, are you going to do it to this team that's kind of like loaded already? I feel like you have to, and the rule needs to be addressed. That being said, I mean, Tampa's just they are very. I don't like them because of the cap, but also they're very, very good. They have a lot of good players. They're loaded all over the place. The cap situation does not help the case because you let two of the best players in the league sit out for periods of time. Mainly Kucherov, obviously, but it's got to be fixed. I still think they're in the conversation to win the cup regardless, but the rule needs to be fixed regardless of that, because you can't just let teams like circumvent like that. They can load up at the trade deadline, and then your best player comes back in the playoffs. It shouldn't work like that. There's kind of that loophole that needs to be. This is like Belichick taking advantage of a rule, and then next year it's fixed. It should have been fixed a while ago, but here we are.
Yep. Yeah. So that'll be a thing to keep an eye on throughout the offseason here for the NHL. Offseason is almost upon us for the NBA, and the NBA finals are set. As everyone predicted, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns.
What a loaded final we have.
So there's a lot to unpack. And before we get into the matchup, let's kind of quickly digest how we got here quickly. The Suns eventually take care of the Clippers, who I think, and I just want to give the credit here to two people. Ty Lue and Paul George. Two guys that I think get a lot of grief. Ty Lue, he's a passenger. He's not a real coach. Oh, you bring him in when you just want the players to run the room, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't really get a lot of credit for winning that title with Cleveland. Being down 3-1, something he kind of has shown a propensity for being able to overcome now, surprisingly. Something the guy he has sat behind for a lot, Doc Rivers, can't ever do. Can't close out series up or down. So Ty Lue deserves a lot of credit for coaching the crap out of that team. Because players don't decide who's coming in and out, right? Maybe LeBron does maybe right, or a Michael Jordan would. Hey, no, bring me Scotty right now. I need Scotty. Or hey, I want Kuzma in here for those are like maybe the two guys ever that would do that. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George weren't doing that. When Kawhi Leonard hurt. Offseason, we'll have time to discuss his future. But Paul George stepped up too.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as Ty Lue made adjustments and really coached the team and matchups and zone and all this sort of stuff, that are coaching adjustments, Paul George balled out. I mean, and that guy gets a lot of grief, and it got to a point where it wasn't just, he had a big game, and it was like, good for Paul George having a big game and staving off elimination or beating the Jazz. It got to that point where it was like, you know what? He's played so well without Kawhi that I don't think they need to even get to or win the finals. I think he's changed the narrative for himself. He's done enough to say, listen, man, like, we know you're not going to get there, and we accept that given the situation, and you balled out. And I think that the guy at least has put that monkey. It's still there. That monkey of not having a championship is there, but now it's like It's trailing him. It's shadowing him by like 4 or 5 feet. He had an unbelievable run without Kawhi.
Now, my only one gripe, I said this last week. We came across this, but my only one gripe with him this series was the free throws. Like,
oh yes,
or any series. But outside of that, I mean, he was excellent. And of course, you're probably your best player, I would say, in Kawhi, just between the two because he's been there and done that. But he goes down, and Paul George really has to pick up the weight there and kind of carry the team because outside of him, what do you really have? You have some decent, like, nice role players, but it's not superstar filled.
Yeah.
So without Kawhi, it's like now it's Paul George's time, and he was excellent in the series.
Yeah. The other guy who I think deserves a lot of credit and is gonna get paid is Reggie Jackson. That dude gets cut, signs a minimum contract, and now he's going to get the max. He is not going to meet the value of whatever contract he signs. He deserves it. He's earned it. He's not going to live up to the life of that contract.
No way.
Wherever it is.
There's no shot. But hey, you know what? Credit to him. He's going to get paid. So why not? Take advantage of it while you can.
Do you feel
30 now?
Yeah, you got to be somewhere around there.
So get paid.
Do you feel like the needle has moved anywhere on my proposed trade of clean swap CJ McCollum for Kawhi Leonard? Basically McCollum can become DeMar DeRozan again. It's like the same situation. Portland's kind of stuck. You know what, McCollum, we love you, but we're going to bring in the assassin. We're going to bring in the mercenary Kawhi Leonard to help put us over the top.
I think the Clippers are worse in that trade. I think they lose that trade, but
they're not going to. I think Kawhi's gone, so he could just walk.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it definitely is possible. I don't know. Kawhi's a weird guy. If he wants to be in LA, obviously you keep him. If he doesn't, then maybe you swing a move like that. They got to find out. Unfortunately, he keeps himself close to his vest. So
yeah. Well, I
think
he's
probably going to want like Miami or something.
Well, there's like the reports of he's not happy with the medical staff, which is like, I heard this story before.
Yeah. At what point do you kind of like look at Kawhi and say like, what are we doing here, dude?
Problem is the dude's won 2 rings, right? So like, he's it's not like.
But he's also been on 3 teams now?
Yeah.
Superstars in the league, I mean, outside of maybe LeBron, really don't move all that often if you're like, tied to a team, in my opinion. Like Steph Curry's not going anywhere. Klay Thompson's not going anywhere.
It's happened more often though now. I mean, LeBron, I think, really set the stage for this.
Open the door.
Because I mean, look at Durant. We thought he'd be in OKC his whole career. Then he goes to Golden State. You figured, well, he'll just stay there and win like 9 championships. Only stayed 3 years.
Yeah.
Off to Brooklyn.
I guess it's happening more with the upper echelon, but
so we'll see. Well, that's why it's important. That's why everybody's focused on guys like Giannis. Sign that contract. Stay here long. You sign that next contract.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. Literally, the ink didn't even dry on his extension. Everybody's like, we're gonna make sure he wants to sign the next extension.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wanted to give some love to Paul George. Meanwhile, the Bucks and the Hawks go 6 games. What a weird series. I mean, it's unfortunate that neither team was at full strength. And it was weird. You just thought, like, okay, the Bucks should take care of this. Oh, but Giannis goes down. And then the Hawks are like, well, we'll just run away. It was a game 3 where they didn't have Trae Young, and they were already beating beating up on the Bucks. Or no. It was game 4. It was game 4, sorry, because the Bucks were up 2-1, and that was their chance to get the stranglehold. And it's like, oh, no Trae Young. This is a chance to really put your stamp on this series. And the Bucks were flat before Giannis got hurt.
Yeah.
And then the Hawks run away with it. But then Giannis doesn't play the next game. Neither does Trae Young. And they just started alternating.
Seesawing back and forth on injuries.
It was just bizarre. So it's unfortunate that both of those teams weren't at full strength. I think we'll assume, given what we know, at full strength, the Bucks, again, it's like what we said. They should beat anybody, but they get in their own way. I think Game 4 showed us that. They had a chance to really take a stranglehold on a series against an upstart team without their best player, and they were playing like absolute dog poo.
Yep.
That is the biggest difference I see here between the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Milwaukee has the best player in Giannis.
Is he going to play?
Does he want to play like the best player? And is he healthy enough to play like the best player? And then what do the rest of the guys do? I mean, Chris Middleton has played great here in the conference finals. Are the lights going to be a bit bright for him in the finals? I mean, none of these guys have ever been there before. Does either team have a guy? I'm like racking my brain now. Well, Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's been to the finals last year. I'm just trying to think guys that have even been there.
Yeah, I don't know how much that means if Jay Crowder's been there. He's also been on 17 teams, so.
Yes. I'm just trying to think if there's anybody with finals experience.
No.
I'm blanking on somebody. But
it's been a weird postseason.
It has been a weird postseason, and both teams are banged up. Devin Booker hasn't looked like himself since he got his face broken.
Yeah.
Chris Paul. Oh, there go my glasses. Chris Paul is obviously a little nicked up, but he's fighting through it because this is the biggest moment of his career. And the Bucks are basically battered and bruised from a gauntlet of an Eastern Conference.
I want to say Middleton's maybe the healthiest kind of upper echelon player in the series.
Just off the bat, I mean, I think it's an exciting matchup just because it's two different teams, teams we haven't seen before. And I think that that's good for the league. The ratings have shown that it's been good. People thought it would tank, and it hasn't. So that's good. I just hope that we get the stars and we don't have Giannis doesn't play game 1. That would be really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's nice to have two different teams. I also just wonder about the paths. I mean, a lot of injuries in this postseason. It's obviously a legit win of a championship. I'm not saying it's asterisk. Nobody wins. But it's been a weird year. I mean, you just look at the paths of the two teams. I mean, the Hawks, I don't know if the Hawks should have been there if the 76ers don't choke away another series with Doc Rivers this time.
But we expected that.
Yeah, but it's just it's just kind of been a weird path. The Bucks, I feel like this is the Bucks' year to win it. I don't know. If they don't win this one, how much easier is it going to get for them? And same with the Suns, to be honest with you. They had a lot of good potential teams in front of them, and they didn't really face that much talent. Anthony Davis and LeBron were both banged up. Davis didn't really play. Then you move on, and it's like Kawhi goes down. You
thought Denver was going to put up more of a fight, even without Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
And they got swept.
And so, I don't know. But I think it's at least good for the league, like you said. I mean, the ratings show that, so obviously it's proven to be. The Bucks just don't excite me that much. Giannis is fun to watch at times. But watching him take 12-second free throws time and time again it really makes me fall asleep. But I do like Devin Booker. So I will be watching for Booker in that Suns team. I'm rooting kind of that way, more so than Milwaukee, just because, I don't know. Like I said, I think this is Giannis's year to win. He should win it. They should be the better team just based on size and everything alone. But are they going to be healthy? There's a lot of questions here going into it, but we'll see game 1, who's going to play and what happens.
You'd want to see the Bucks assert themselves. I feel like I'm obviously going to be happy as a fan with either team winning. Torrey Craig is winning his first championship, by the way, because he was on the Suns earlier this year. So he's or on the Bucks. I forget which way it is. I think he's on the Suns right now, but he's going to get a ring either way. But
you know what made me cry? Just real quick. You know what made me cry? Seeing Jeff Teague hit big threes. for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's the end of the bench guy. He was on the Celtics earlier in the year and kind of sucked. And then he's in the Eastern Conference Finals making big shots.
Yep.
Naturally. So,
I mean, it fits. It tracks for this year.
yeah.
I wanted to see if the Suns win. Like, we know what the Suns are. We've seen how they play this whole year. They've been incredibly consistent from start to finish, and have risen to the challenge multiple times in areas where we look like, man, they got to really, like, this is the game. You got to have this game. You don't want to let another team back in. They, like, look what Chris Paul did in Game 6. Nope, we're not going to Game 7. I'm going to, is Chris Paul going to drop 40 points a night? No. In that moment, and it wasn't like hero ball. There were some times, I think, in Game 5 where I felt like he was playing hero ball. He wanted to be the guy to hit the big shot to put it away, and he just didn't have it that night. He knew he had it in Game 6. 41 points.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're a team that just knows what they are. I still feel like the Bucks just kind of, they have so much talent, and they get away, as Charles Barkley said, they get away with doing stupid things. And I feel like if they do stupid things and win a finals, it's going to be annoying. It's because it's like you didn't learn your lesson.
Yeah.
You want a team to finally to learn the lesson and then do the things they should be. If Giannis is assertive, and I don't care if he's taking 12 seconds, if he's being aggressive and getting to the line, then that's good for the Bucks. That's a recipe for them to success and to dominate.
Yeah.
Because other teams, the teams will foul out because guys are getting foul trouble because they're hacking him. So I don't know. We'll see which Bucks team we get. I just think Phoenix is on a mission. I feel like it's gonna be bad. They obviously are on the rise. I think if Chris Paul were to walk away after this year, will he be able to recapture the same magic next year? It's almost that it's like Brett Favre's first year in Minnesota, right? He was almost an MVP. That following year, it was bad. He didn't have the same juice. And the Vikings obviously took him a long time to get good again. I think the Suns are obviously poised. This current Suns team, I don't think Chris Paul's going to come back next year and be the same Chris Paul. The Bucks, if they don't win this, they went all in to win this year. Yeah. And their cap situation gets very complicated. Jrue Holiday has been up and down, I'd say, as far as, what they gave up to get him and expectations. I think he had 20-something points in that closeout game, but by and large, offensively, he's kind of been missing, and they needed that. They needed his offense and defense, both. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like if the Suns were to lose, they obviously can bounce back, but if you're rooting for Chris Paul, this is his one shot. I don't think he gets back here again, just because the Western Conference is going to be much more difficult next year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would agree. I feel like Chris Paul seems like that type of guy, right? He's gonna be that one and done kind of. He hit magic in a bottle this year somehow, and had a really good year, I would say, and kind of, I don't want to say carried the team, but he really helped that team along. And if you sign him long term, I feel like that kind of wears off. I don't know. It just feels like that type of situation.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I think these are very evenly matched teams. But who do you got? I mean, we obviously always root for a long series. We want to be entertained. We want as much non-baseball for as long as we can. But who you think is going to win this series and why?
The Bucks. I want the Suns. I kind of lean towards them in terms of who I would rather see win it. But I think the Bucks are the better team, and they should win this series. I mean, they just came out of Atlanta. Now, I will say it depends on Giannis's health. I don't know if they can go 6 or 7 games without him and win the thing. So if he's back and he's at least 80%, which I would assume for a finals matchup, unless he really, really can't go, if his knee's really that bad, then I assume he'll play. And I guess it depends on what level of injured he is. I mean, if he's at 40%, is that good enough to beat the Suns? I'm not sure, because they'll beat you up. I mean, they win a number of ways. They can shoot threes, they can get inside, and they can create a wall with Ayton. And Crowder, obviously. So I still lean Bucks because I think they're the better team. in terms of who's going to win it. I think I'd rather see the Suns actually win it, though.
Yeah, I agree. It depends on Giannis's health, obviously. I do think, though, if he's like, he doesn't have a torn ACL, right? He sprained his knee. He is big and strong. If he wanted to, like, brace it up and play in the low post, you don't need to be at 100% to do that. That's the old man game.
Right.
So he could certainly give it a go and still give them a great shot if he just basically became a post player, which, like I've been saying, maybe this is what he needs.
Yeah.
Now, out of necessity, he'll have to focus on that element. Because I think he could be he could be like some quasi amalgamation of like Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant, like, because his skill set is so varied and wide. Now, he's never going to be a shooter, but if he has a little bit of that mid range, if he worked on, at least Anthony Davis does have some post craft. He could be such a dynamic player. We'll see now if maybe out of necessity he has to default to some of that
because
he doesn't have the same.
You're kind of like, you want your own game to shine through these guys. You love post play because you're kind of like a post player yourself, whereas I
got to be crafty.
Like,
you're the shooter.
Let's rain threes in from half court.
You're the shooter.
Steph Curry, Dame Lillard style. Whereas you're like, gotta get inside, post up.
C-Law for 3.
Pretty much. I don't have much other than that, but you know what?
Meanwhile, I want to silence the crowd on the road with that shimmy shake fadeaway off glass from 10 feet, and you just hear the PA announcer, Andrew Pizzelli, as it goes quiet. Man, no, but I think the Suns have the better coach. I think they're healthier overall, and I think they're the better team. I think Milwaukee has talent, and they should be better. We were just saying this all the time. They should be better. And so far, we talked about the path, right? Like the Nets, banged up. Hawks, banged up.
Yeah.
They haven't played a team at full strength yet. That's an actual, like, going to be a challenge for them. The Suns are at full strength. Like, everyone is available. Our guys dealing with stuff. Everybody's dealing with stuff. Right? I just think this may be where the well runs dry for the Bucks, and hopefully it's a long series. But Suns in 5.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my prediction.
I strongly disagree. It's probably going 6 or 7, and I mean, still, it's the Giannis is the bigger question. I mean, I just don't know what it'll give you depending on his knee. But game 1 is tomorrow night, so we'll find out pretty quickly what level of injured he is. And where is game 1, by the way? Phoenix or?
I don't know, because it's got to be Phoenix, because I imagine they had the better record because they were the 2 seed.
It is.
Yeah. Bucks at Suns tomorrow at 9 freaking p.m.
Yeah, just like
brutal.
Unbelievable.
Though I guess I understand it more. I mean, in this case, you got a West Coast team. No, actually, no. Phoenix is on Mountain Time. That's what's always odd about when you're in Phoenix, is you go from West Coast time to Mountain Time, and as soon as you leave Phoenix, back to West Coast time. Then you get into Texas, and you're Mountain Time again.
Yeah. We don't ask questions.
Yeah, we don't do math here either. Math is hard.
Yeah.
But I guess I understand the later start because you got Midwest and a Western team. So,
true.
I understand that a little bit more. The worst is when it's like 2 East Coast teams.
East Coasters just get screwed.
And we play at like 9. Something's like 9:30. It's like, why? Yeah. We're in Miami.
11 o'clock.
Yeah. Ugh.
Nothing like watching a nice Wednesday night Celtics Golden State Warriors matchup at 11 p.m. Nothing beats it.
Brutal. So, yeah, that kicks off, and we will have, what is the schedule for that? Game 2 is Thursday. Game 3 will be next Sunday. So when we next take to the air, we'll be 2 games in. So we'll have a little bit of a litmus test to see the things we're looking for. What are the trends? So
post play.
Bucks and Suns. Yes. A return to the post play.
We're seeking post play.
I am always seeking post play. Get in the paint. Points in the paint. Tommy points. Christian, you wanted to talk a little Red Sox baseball, and I think
Yeah,
you
let's
wanted
do it.
you wanted to. I wasn't able to. It was a busy week, and then the holiday. I wasn't able to actually. We can't actually roll tape on this, but I think you wanted to call me out some. So I'll let you go where you will here.
So here's what I'll say though. It's not just a you thing. I think it was both of us initially, right? So this was the pre call of what's going to happen this season, uh, and it was that they were probably not going to be very good. And then I kind of like came around early season, like right before the season started, maybe a few games in, right? They're like 6-2, and I'm like, okay, I think we're going to have a season here. And you were a little skeptical, and you said, I think they're going to suck, and they're never going to be. Well, here we are. We're about. Let me just do the quick maths. 85 games in, and the Red Sox, your Boston Red Sox, have 53 wins. It's insane to me. They do have some good players. Don't get me wrong, but I did not see 53 wins on pace for 100 coming. I'll be honest. I thought they would be in the mix and probably be there at the end to see if they can make a postseason slot. They're headed that way. And obviously the injury on the Rays pitching staff is a big one. But still, I mean, it's not the biggest call out ever. Like, I'm not going to be too hard because I think everybody saw like, okay, this Red Sox team.
You
is
weren't
not
the
gonna...
Nostradamus being like the Red Sox
no,
are winning
no.
97 games.
No, I said like 85 to 89, 85 to 90, somewhere in there, and they'd be in the mix. But on pace for 100-something wins is just freakishly good somehow. I don't know how they're here.
I still don't feel it though. Like I still feel like they could get. They're gonna get to 90, maybe 100 wins, and I'm still not gonna feel good about it. You know what I mean? Like I don't watch them and think this is the best team in baseball.
No, I don't really either.
It's not like 2018 where you were like, this team under Core, like they're on a mission. Like I think this is the best team in baseball, and it's evident. You watch them, you watch the way guys play, you watch the games unfold. Like this team's they hit, they pitch, they have clutch moments. It just I just don't have that same juice about this team. I don't know why.
It's just because of the names. You think,
I guess maybe that's it.
Like,
and maybe that's the
obviously...
thing. Nobody believed in the 2013 team until around this time. It was around this time. It was late. It was even later. It was like late July, early August. There was a game. They were like at home versus the Mariners, and they were down like 9-1. And it was like, see, this is the team we thought we were getting. This is proof that they aren't who they say they are. And then they like scored 10 runs in the 9th inning and won. And it was like, okay,
yeah,
this freaking team
is gonna win it.
So I guess I'm still waiting. I still feel like midpoint is not enough to say because we've seen teams completely implode. 2011.
True.
So I'm still reserving judgment. I am not wrong yet.
You're wrong.
Well, you're right. I said we wouldn't even have a season. I thought it was like we started like 9-2. You could lose the next like 17 in a row. Like it's so early to be like, well, this is projecting to. We have a season. We are going to have a season. Yes. For Red Sox fans, there is a season to be excited about, to tune in and watch, and your team is actually going to compete. Am I convinced they're winning a World Series? Absolutely not. I'm not even convinced they'll win a divisional series.
Yeah, it depends on who they get. They're still good teams, and I feel like I feel like they won't be a favorite, probably like against the Astros or even in a World Series against the Dodgers or something like that. They wouldn't be.
That would be great,
favorite.
though. This team gets to face Mookie. Oh my goodness.
But it's part of it is like you look at the lineup. It's like okay, Bobby Dahlbeck and Santana, Marwin Gonzalez, Kike Hernandez. It's not like they're just electric, right? It's not they're wire to wire like the 2019. They're not that team. But I'll tell you what, Alex Cora presses the right buttons. Their bullpen has somehow been otherworldly, and I got to give some credit to Chaim Bloom because he brought in a couple guys in that bullpen, and they've been very, very good. And this is like Tampa Bay Rays style for what the Red Sox are doing. They have a bunch of guys that are not highly named. It's not Mike Trout hitting bombs every game, but they do their job and they win games. I mean, they win every way. They just smoked the Royals a week ago, and they won 1-0 last night. And they're beating everybody. And your New York Yankees, on the other hand, are complete shell of themselves somehow.
Don't you love to see it?
Poor Garrett Cole. Man, the guy cheated for so long, and now all of a sudden, 300 million later, here he is on the Yankees. They paid him all that money, and he freaking blows. Oh, it's great.
Well, that's, I guess, part of the thing, too, where I'm, like, reserving judgment on some of these things, is the spider tack crackdown. And it's like, how many of these pitchers who were surprised at how well they've been are going to, like, completely fall apart? Because that's what it's really... We knew what the lineup could be, batting-wise. Hey, this guy could be playing better. This young guy, he's got stuff. We'll see, blah, blah, blah. None of that's surprising. The bats never surprised me. Unless a guy, comes up from the minors and is jacking 60. Then I'm like, well, he's juicing. That's stunning. And he's going to get tested. I look more at the pitching. That's really it's the only way you win a World Series is with the pitching. Very few teams throughout history can simply just mash their way there. I'm worried. I'm concerned about some of these guys who we look at and say have overperformed, and that the wheels could come off. And I guess that's where time will tell. Do you share any of those same concerns?
Yes, because I think the staff at the beginning of the season, that was my biggest gripe. Or not gripe, that was my biggest concern, I guess, is the pitching staff looks on paper like it freaking sucks. They have a bunch of guys that probably are going to give up, have a 5 ERA, but they're pitching well. And even after this, the sticky tack, they're kind of figuring it out here. Nick Pivetta is still somehow like 7-3, 10 Ks again last night. So they are finding their way here. And I think Cora deserves some credit because I think he is a very, very good coach. Cheating, trash cans, whatever you want. He's still a good manager, and he knows the game. And also he connects with guys on kind of a different level. So, and let's not forget, they have 5 All-Stars, 2 of which are starting, who Devers and Bogarts have been studs this year. They've been very good. But outside of Bogarts, JD Martinez, and Devers, it's like, okay, Verdugo's nice, but like, it's not like they're just littered throughout the lineup. And then you look at the pitching staff, and hopefully you get Chris Sale back, and he's at least kind of what he was. He's not going to have the same explosiveness, but so they need help on the pitching staff. That's what I will say. But as of right now, even after the sticky tack, they're kind of finding their way here and still winning games.
Yeah. Do you expect anything from Chris Sale?
Yes. You still see the name on paper and you get excited because I think he's a guy that moves. He's not going to slow down and pick his nose, pick his ear, and do that all on the mound. However, he's coming off Tommy John. He hasn't pitched in a long time. So if he can give you at least something, right? Even a day where he gives you 4 innings and kind of gets his way until maybe you hit October when the playoffs come around, I will take it. So I do expect something just because I think the staff needs help. And I think having a guy like that come out of injury, even though he hasn't pitched in a long time, I think he'll still have his stuff. He's not going to be as good as he once was, right? He's in his 30s, Tommy John, but he is still better than any guy you can get off the street, say, mid-year. So I will definitely take him helping this staff.
I expect nothing. See, Christian, the Red Sox are where we're different, right? I'm more of the optimist with all the other teams. I'm the Red Sox pessimist here. I expect nothing from Sale. The track record, the age, the injury, all
fair. That's fair. But
I expect nothing. And when you said you see the name and you get excited, yes, I get excited thinking Sale. Let's have him come back, have like 3 good starts, and be like, trade deadline, baby, take that contract.
No, you won't. You can't do that if he's pitching well.
Yes, you can.
This team needs help, not to sell.
Man. Yes, get help by getting rid of a guy who's owed the next 4 years 30, 27, 27, 20 million.
If he can come be a 1 or 2 starter on the team,
I
I'm
don't
not
think
saying
he
he
can.
will. There's a big question mark there. But if he can be that guy, I would absolutely take him.
Honestly, I mean, it's a way overpay. If he can be the fourth guy and just go out there and, hey, give us 5 hard innings, and then we go to our bullpen, he's like an opener,
Yeah, I'll take it.
I would take that. If he can be Chris Sale for 5 innings every 8-9 days, perfect. Then it's not worth it. The money is still not worth it, but that is going to give you value. If he's going to go out there and like have 2 great outings, then explode in the next 3, and then like be injured and need another surgery again, it's like,
Oh yeah, it's like
man.
Dustin Pedroia's style. I don't know.
Exactly how that kind of came to an end. You kind of mentioned the All-Stars there, 5 All-Stars for the Red Sox. Shohei Ohtani, the first 2-way All-Star. We talk about things that, across sports, what's good for the game, what's good for this sport, blah, 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 blah. I think he is probably the best thing about baseball right now.
Without a question.
And hopefully this encourages more players and, more importantly, more organizations to encourage and be open to having players like this. Because there are plenty of guys that could play both ways. But you just, from basically now, even down to high school now, that's where guys used to play both ways in high school or college. Hey, I'm a pitcher, but on my off days, I hit. I've seen guys in college still, the odd team has a pitcher who will hit. There's plenty of them that are capable, but they just like, nope, you're a pitcher, you pitch. And that's far in the majority the mentality. I hope that more guys are allowed to do this because it's great. This is what baseball's supposed to be at its purest. Is that the guy striking you out then comes to the plate and puts you out of the park.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the best of baseball right there.
Yeah, and this guy is an absolute freaking stud. It's like he throws 102 miles an hour and then he hits a 450-foot bomb over the center field wall. He's got 31 home runs. And then he comes in and he's like 7-2 on the mound and he's throwing 100 miles an hour. It's just ridiculous. I actually want to check his pitching stats because I know he's batting like 280, which you say is pretty solid for a guy that does 2 things, but he's got 31 home runs, which I believe is first. And 67. He's first in home runs, third in RBIs, third in OPS. And then he not only that, but he comes on the mound and he's like a freaking stud. It's just ridiculous. And it's good for the game because, I mean, it's like all you read about is Ohtani hits 450-foot bomb over the center field wall, and then he's struck out 10 in the same day. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think it's great. I want more guys to do it. I want way more guys to do it. 2 quick things to run out. Well, what's the Joey Chestnut thing? Before we get into, we have some serious stuff we want to end with. So let's give me the Joey Chestnut deal here, Christian.
He won yesterday again, okay, and he set a world record. This guy ate 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Hey, old Dozo, where you at? Somebody.
Yeah, you got to get on that stage, man. Jeez, I mean, it's like it is disgusting. It is foul. But hey, he won the contest again. I mean, nobody can beat him. But 76, that's 7.6 hot dogs a minute. Do I have that right? I mean, that is just disgusting.
Oh God.
Or 7.1 a minute? I don't know. It's just gross. And he's just shoveling in hot dogs in his mouth.
Look at all these hot dogs. Hold on, we gotta share. This is a screen share. Good God.
Yeah, it is disgusting. Look at this.
Goodness grief. Let me get rid of this. Pull it right here. Oh God, that's the whole plate. Oh, and that's the money look. Oh no, that's the money look. Oh. There you go. Yeah. Oh, just that look says it all. That's the pain of a year coming out.
Bun all over his face and hot dogs in his face. It's just not good.
Ah, goodness grief. And yeah, he's shoveling them. I can't anymore. That's it. I'm done.
Okay, yeah. Let's take
Ah.
that down.
Good Lord.
Dude, just get a life. Go
Nick
eat
in the
like
comment
a normal meal.
Nick in the comment section. Chestnut broke his own world record yesterday. He had 75 previously.
Yeah.
I max out at like maybe 5 hot dogs in the course of a day. You know, you have the cookout. You go get 2. You get your chips. You get some potato salad, something else, maybe a little fruit, something else. And then you go back. And that you just casually keep coming back like, yeah, one more hot dog. Yeah, one more hot dog.
I can't imagine.
76.
Imagine.
Does
the
he just
feeling.
go and just evacuate all those instantly? You can't hold. There's no
what I'm
way.
saying.
We went over this with old Dozo when he ate the 43 hamburgers. Like, there's a point where your body can only hold so much, and like it just will reject it. So he must yes, the record isn't hold them all down. It's contain them and then ring the bell.
Yeah. It's just so he actually trains for this. So he like the Twitch side of things is always
76 dogs in 12 minutes. Imagine the poops, says Vincenzo_yo.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, imagine. But he trains for this, so you like expand
He's
your
not
stomach
fat though.
and-
Like you'd expect this guy
No.
to just be like a behemoth.
But imagine just having I just want to see an X-ray, right, of a stomach with just
They're mostly
76
intact hot dogs. He's
Yeah.
just like chugging a beer. It's
Gross.
just you head back, straight down, turn the glass.
Yeah.
Those
It's
are just intact hot dogs.
and the buns around them. It's just disgusting.
Nick says he's like Patrick from that episode of SpongeBob where he vacuums up the cookies.
Yeah, I
basically.
mean that's pretty accurate.
Man, nothing sets off the comment section more than the food stuff. The
I know.
food, we've been
That
talking
really gets
sports
them
here
going.
for like 45 minutes. It's always the food things. Like when we did the NFL food draft, the Super Bowl food draft. Oh man, that was like the comment section lights up with the food talk.
Yeah.
So,
You want to talk about the NBA Finals? Nah, but 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes, we're good. Yeah.
All right, so here's the debate then. We could toss this to the comment section too, to the internet. Is that a sport?
No,
Do we consider what he did a sport?
no, it's not a sport. Competitive
Eating
I
is
think
not a
it's-
sport.
I think it's a competition. It's not a sport.
Okay. What's the difference? What would make it a sport? What would he have to be doing to make it out a sport?
I think he would. I think someone would have to be hitting hot dogs in his mouth with a tennis racket or something. I think you take a badminton racket. One guy is hitting buns, and one guy's and he has
Up
to catch.
5 hot dogs to love.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're talking like okay. Then
So like teamwork,
competitive
like it had to be a tandem thing. Like okay, I got me and you. Like I'll hit the hot dog. You got to try and swallow it. Before we got to get to like 12 hot dogs before these other 2 people can whack hot dogs into somebody
it's
else's
basically
mouth.
like the home run derby. Like I choose my pitcher.
Yeah.
I'll choose my hitter, and then off you go. Then we're talking. Then it's really a sport.
Yeah, you need a pitcher and a receiver.
Okay, I'm not going to go there.
Oh goodness! All right, let's dial it back in. Let's get to 2 things. The Tour de France fan. We talked about this last week. The woman holding up her like "Hi, Grandma and Grandpa" sign, who caused the massive crash. There was a crash the following day and the day after that, not fan caused, but the conditions were bad enough, have been bad enough, and it's been brewing for years.
Mm-hmm.
These things come in cycles. Haha, pun not intended. The racers, the riders protested. Very short. They got going into stage 4. And it was kind of funny. You'd see, I think there'd been some conversations, but obviously it's an international race. Not everybody speaks the same language, so they're at the front, the peloton, because usually it's never a quick breakaway right away. They just, hey, we're going for like 160 miles here. Let's casually ease into this. They're a couple of kilometers in, you see the guys in the front. All right, he speaks Russian, I speak Russian, but I also speak French. So he tells me what the deal is. I tell the guy next to me, well, I speak French. Hey, tell the guy who speaks Spanish what to tell the guy who speaks English what to tell. And like word got around to like the front of the peloton. All these guys just kind of, they just put their hands out and they all slowed up.
Yeah.
They all just stopped. All right, pause for a minute. Took off leisurely for 5 minutes, and then off they went and they began racing again. To protest basically the racing conditions on 2 folds. One, the fan thing, which it ebbs and flows. There's years where, nobody could be near, patrol the whole way, and then it always is what happens. It gets walked down, fans get a little closer, nobody does anything, and it's fun. Oh, look at the streets lined with people. And cyclists always say it's an accident waiting to happen. The accident happened, and now finally it's like, this is what it took.
Yeah.
And so they protested that. Also, like, there was the road itself. Now, there are limits to what they'll let these guys race on, depending on weather and certain conditions. But some of the crashes were just, guys just slip on the road and took out a guy at the finish, like 100 meters, less than 100 meters from the finish. Wiped out Ewan Sagan. I mean, and that one was brutal. And he skidded for like 50 feet on his back. Just,
ridiculous, yeah.
Absolutely brutal. So that happened with the protest. They found the fan. She had fled. She was able to like get on a flight. They brought her back, and now she's facing criminal charges. Let me find exactly what it is. She was forced to appear in court. She's being charged with reckless endangerment and involuntarily causing injuries. That is just the beginning. This woman's going to be facing lawsuits too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's guys who couldn't race anymore because of this. Talk about a loss of revenue. Damages? Not good. I hope you're like 30 seconds of fame. I hope Grandma and Grandpa appreciated the sign.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, I think these things can go too far in one direction or the other. Like, but in a situation like this, it's not like a fan ran onto the court and got tackled by a security guard. They literally caused a huge wreck at the beginning of this race. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's kind of a tough situation because obviously you feel for the person. I don't think it's not like they maliciously ran out there and tackled people.
Yeah.
But also you got to get the hell out of the way. Like,
yeah.
It is what it is.
Got to be smarter. And unfortunately, because it's been brewing and now they don't want to see this happen, she's going to be the sacrificial lamb. They're going to make the example of her. And normally, maybe it would just be like, hey, you hit one rider, there's like a fine. If they weren't badly injured, they may like come to some sort of settlement, like you owe me if I couldn't race anymore, blah, blah, blah. 40-person pileup.
Yeah, not good.
Is not. They want to avoid that again at all costs. So unfortunately, you are now going to be made the example. And we're going to end with this. This is so stupid. We spent a little bit of time last week. We were talking about Simone Biles. We were talking about the women's track and field team, Team USA, Olympics, going ahead as scheduled. Will be happening in Tokyo in a couple of weeks. And one of the stars who we were excited for and ready to see compete, one of the fastest women in the world, Sha'Carri Richardson, will not be at the Olympics. She will be serving a month-long suspension laid down by the World Anti-Doping Agency because she tested positive for marijuana. It's so dumb. Now, can you say these are the rules? You should know the rules. At all costs, you have to be mindful. She was grieving the loss of her mother. I feel like there has to be some sort of. It's not like she took crack. It's not like she is tested positive for a whole bunch of steroids. It's like, well, I was just overcome by grief, so I had to take this oxygen saturated blood platelet cocktail. She took
Did a little
she
weed.
used weed. It's the rule. The rule's stupid. The collectively as a planet right now, I think we're in a different place. Weed is not performance enhancing. If anything, it's what would we say? Performance decreasing, diminishing.
Yeah, diminishing.
Performance diminishing. I don't know anyone ever that's like, hey man, how I really get, before a game. Before I run out there on the field just to get jacked up, amped up, ready to knock heads, ready to run as fast as I can, I just find that the best thing for me is a nice
little Mary
tight
Jane
joint. little bump, right? No, it's not at all. And it's not even like marijuana is used to mask other substances. So you could say, oh, can't take this because it helps you, like guys who take birth control to mask the steroids they're taking in baseball. Like, come on, dude, what are you doing? It's obvious. You're hiding something. It's weed. What are we doing? It's dumb. It's unfortunate. It's dumb. I wish there was a way to correct it right now because she should be there. She should be there and she should be racing. And she's not. And that's a travesty.
Yeah, agreed. I'll just add, I think, look, obviously she knows the rule. She said it on TV. But there's a reason places, number one, it's legal in places, and it's becoming more legal in other places. There's dispensaries. A lot of people use it for mental health. A lot of people use it in the NFL and previously got in trouble for it for pain management, mental health, whatever you need to use it for. This is not HGH. This is not steroids. This is not performance enhancing, like you mentioned. So yes, I know you can make the argument. Yes, that's the rule. Sure, I understand that. It's dumb. There's a reason why other sports are kind of lightening their, I guess punishment is the right word for, being caught, whether it's you took weed, you have weed, whatever. This is not something that made her, run at the speed of light. So it just feels like you're taking an opportunity away from someone who deserves to be there, should be there, and now can't be there because she did a little weed. I don't know what else to say in this day and age. It's like this stuff is becoming more legal. So why are we kind of taking people out of Olympic events, NFL games for this stuff? It should be very, very light. If any punishment, the rules should just be scrapped at this point. I mean, just look at where we are. Why is it becoming legal in places if it's gonna affect an athlete like this? I think as an athlete, it affects them positively in a number of ways, like I just mentioned. So the rule is dumb. It's like it's being categorized as if, sure, it's a banned substance, but is it like she took horse tranquilizer and like grew hooves and became like an absolute, I don't know. So it's just weird. I feel like even as not only just a country, but as a world view of weed, it's always been kind of one of those things that is put in the same category as other things when it's not nearly as, enhancing or even bad or addictive as other drugs. It's just
as Seth Rogen said, if weed made you run faster, I'd be FloJo by now.
yeah, seriously, yeah.
Vincenzo points out in the comment section, it is super illegal in Japan. Not sure if that matters to the IOC. I mean, they should be creating. Now, I'd look at it this way: if she was in Japan, if this was like the day before a race, and she went out and like sneakily, you're in that country, you'd have to obey that country's rules and laws. This was in America. This is in the IOC and all that. It's still, you can have one set here, and if people down here want to be stricter, that's totally their prerogative. There's nothing wrong with Japan's take on it. But where a lot of other places are with this, and as you said, the NFL would rather have guys smoking some weed to deal with pain than getting hooked on prescription painkillers.
Yeah.
And they're facing lawsuits over that. Like, because the doctors pushed it on the players and It's just bad, right? Obviously, way worse to be hooked on those things. And right now, tell me if this makes sense. By the rules, Sha'Carri Richardson, in grief, could have drank a bar full of alcohol, gone and crashed her car, DUI'd, and still would have been allowed to compete in the Olympics. Does that sound right? Does that feel right to you? No. I mean, who knows? Again, who knows if they have moral clauses, if the team would have said like, boy, that's not good. Sorry, your conduct is unbecoming. But by the rules...
It's a perception thing, though, as much as anything else, right? I mean, it's like you say someone's doing weed or something like, oh, it's just inherently bad. Why are you doing that? That's terrible. Whereas like
helps a lot of people.
Cigarettes and vaping and all this stuff is much worse, not only for your health, but also it doesn't really give you any sort of, relief, I guess is what I could say, in terms of, okay, we've heard in the past a lot of guys, defensive backs and things like that, you're cracking your skull every game. We'd help them. So they were high even during the game sometimes, because otherwise it's like you're doing a car crash, in the
Yeah.
NFL, every hit. So it's just one of these things that has a bad perception for whatever reason. And it's becoming more and more normalized. And we're just like, I guess we're just very delayed. And I know obviously maybe it is illegal in Japan, but as you said, this wasn't in Japan yet. I mean, she's running a race here to qualify in the United States. She lost her mom, do a little weed. Is she harming anyone? Not really.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The only performance I've seen enhanced by marijuana is something in the creative arts, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you can argue weed is, probably is a career diminisher. Just look at Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Weed does not necessarily lead to good choices. And I'll say this, too. And we talked about it being used medicinally. There is a big difference with all substances between use and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who use alcohol. Like, there's studies. Hey, if you have like a little bit of like beer every day, like that can be good for your blood pressure and your heart. But whoever has like 5 ounces of beer?
Right.
No one, right? So then it loses its medicinal properties. This was not like, if Sha'Carri Richardson got busted with like a van full of like kilos of marijuana, it'd be like, okay, this is obviously rising up. But just using, we're in this country, I'd say we're trending past that. Japan has their view. Other countries certainly had different views.
She should be competing.
Without
a doubt.
If this was happening at the Olympics, I'd say way different story. What are you thinking? One way or another, like it's just. And even then, still, if she like found out about her mom at the Olympics and snuck out and like did some weed, I still wouldn't. I can't even fault that. But it'd be much more understandable. You're probably doing that, understanding there will be consequences immediately.
Yeah.
This is just, it's unfortunate. And hopefully, as guys, all sorts of athletes from all other sports, men, women, all across, doesn't matter, have come out in support of her and bringing awareness to this rule and the cause. Like what you said about there's guys, there's athletes, men and women who use this stuff, who need this stuff to deal with a lot of things. And in using it properly, it's a plant.
Yeah.
It can be used medically. Cigarettes are not naturally occurring, and we're perfectly fine with people smoking 8 packs a day and doing whatever they want. So that's kind of where I guess we'll leave it.
Yeah. She should be competing. That's where I'll leave it.
Yep. She should be there. So obviously, as the winter sports, the Stanley Cup will be over by the time we take to the air next week. The NBA Finals will be underway, but their season is obviously closing. Baseball and the Olympics, and soon NFL training camp. A lot to get into. NBA draft later this month. We are discussing, Christian, we're in negotiations with Matt Murphy, maybe to do a live show. The NFL draft live show was very successful. And obviously we talked that night about like, oh, it'd be great to have Brad Kelly on right now to tell us who this guy is, So maybe instead of our pre-draft show, we get Mr. Matt Murphy, our draft and cap analyst, to come on and do the draft show. And I think maybe if we were going to do a live draft show, having 3 of us might kind of help us all shoulder the weight of that 3-hour experience.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I can stomach the NFL draft. The NBA draft, I'll get about 10 picks in and be done.
Yeah.
Just a
you said that about the NFL though too, and you made it to the end.
Yeah, but that's only because there was some interest there.
That's true. Well, the Celtics are going to trade all their picks to the Warriors along with Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. So, yeah.
Well, if they do that, then I'm engaged. But I'm just making something up. I'm leaving.
But anyway, so there will be plenty to get to. But thank you for those who joined us for this live show, a special Monday morning edition of the 360 Sports Show because of the 4th of July weekend. We'll be back next Sunday at our usual time, 11 a.m. We're live every single Sunday on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Join us anytime in the comment section. Thank you to Nick and Vincenzo for joining with us today. Join us next week as well. And you can always email the show anytime at the360sportshow@gmail.com. If you are one of our podcast listeners, we appreciate you as well through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. So that'll do it for the show this week. I'm Andy Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah.